welcome to the Thornbird Bear Yarns podcast. My name is Joni, and I will be your host today. If you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back, and if this is your first time watching, I appreciate you tuning in. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, crocheting, and yarn dyeing. I do have a Etsy shop that can be found at Thornbird Bear Yarns on Etsy. I'm also on Ravelry, lots of yarn, and it's UV instead of OF. And then I'm on Instagram as Thornbird Bear Yarns, and we have a Facebook page, and we have a Ravelry group if you're looking to join. Let's see here. It's May 2nd. It's a Tuesday. It's our first sunny day in quite some time. We've had a lot of rain. I've had a lot of sleepless nights because my middle son does not at all like thunderstorms. So there's been a couple nights now that he has needed to come into my room in the middle of the night and sleep with me so that I can get through the night. And I don't sleep very well when he's in the bed with us. So needless to say, I'm tired. But I have coffee, even though it's decaf, because it's later in the afternoon here. It's about 4:15 or so. I'm hanging out today. My kids are at their dad's house. My boyfriend's in the living room watching TV. He started a new job this week, so he's going to start being home a lot earlier, which is very nice for us. And so today, I had to be like, oh, I'm going to be podcasting. Oh, it got dark. Can you please hang out in the living room with the TV not too high? But he is pretty cool about that stuff. So yeah. So I am podcasting. I did not get to podcast last week. It has been so busy here. And everybody who podcasts knows this, that it gets really busy. And it can be hard to podcast every week, or every other week is my schedule. But when I was supposed to record last week, I've just been really... I have a project I'm doing that I'll talk about at some point, but I've really had to bite down and get as much of that done during my free time as I can. And so that means less time for me to be doing the knitting things that I like to do, including podcasting. So I'm going to be here this week, and then I'll be back again next Tuesday so I can get back on my 2-week schedule. So, I'm going to start by talking about my stats for April. I have this year been starting to keep the projects that I'm completing each month, totals, as well as the number of grams each month I'm knitting, number of yards each month I'm knitting, and then a year-to-date total on all of that. So, let's see here. For April... I've already got my thing marked off. For April, I knit 3 pairs of socks. And I'm going to show 2 of those pairs here in a second in my finished objects. So I had 3 pairs of socks for a total of 319 grams knit, which is 1,329 yards. But I forgot to add in, I also total my whips at the end of the month. If I worked on a whip, I measure it and see how much the yardage was and how much the grams were, and I add that in. So I did have about 75 grams of that total was for my whip, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. So I did 3 socks this month. That puts me at a year-to-date total of 1 scarf, 10 pairs of socks, 1 shawl, 1 stuffy, 2 hats, for a grand total of 1,367 grams and 5,260 yards for the year so far. So yay! I'm already at 10 pairs of socks done for the year, which is pretty amazing for me. Every year progressively for the last about 3 or 4 years, I have knit more and more socks every year. I've really found that as a knitter, socks are my go-to project. They're really the main focus of things I knit. Although you'll see in my works in progress, that's changing a little bit. But as I will say, since I knit 3 2-at-a-time pairs of socks last month, I'm a little bit socked out. at the moment. I definitely am going to get my mojo back because I do my Desert Vista Dye Works socks each month. Plus, there's so many colorways I've dyed or been dyeing that I'm like, oh, I want to knit that into a pair of socks. So it's not done. I mean, like, I'll definitely be picking up a pair of socks here soon, but normally I'm like, I could knit socks from now until Kingdom Comes, and I would be perfectly happy with that. But I'm obsessed right now with my works in progress, which I'll show you. And so I'll kind of elaborate on this in a minute why I'm so obsessed. But so socks, I hope I did. I mean, three pairs is I think that's the most I've ever done in a month. That's a lot. And it's not like they were taking up all my time. When I do 2 at a time, it really cuts down the knitting time for a pair of socks for me. So I was done by like April 20th or so on those 3 pairs. It's not like I spent, well, that's not true. That one of these last pairs, it was almost done, and then it took me about a week to do the last part of it. So, I don't know. So we'll see. Just a little interesting point there. So let's jump into finished objects. I have 2 finished objects. The first I was almost finished last podcast, but I did finish them up. And that is my... See, it's looking so orange because my light's going away. Sorry. This is my Desert Vista Dye Works Solid Chocolate Zumbani. And they are my April 2017 Desert Vista Dye Works socks. And I love them. I'm going to try turning this light on over here. Oop. Sorry. Anyways, I love them. I did my standard vanilla sock recipe, which is a 20-row ribbing for the cuff, a 70-row leg. I do a fish lips kiss heel when I do 2 at a time, and then I do a if it's the merino 75-25 sock yarns, I do 75 rounds for the foot before I do the toe. If it's the 80-20s, the plumper ones, I do 70 rounds. So in this case, Desert Vista Dye Works dyes on the 75-25 merino nylon base. So I did 75 rounds for the foot and then did my toe. And I love them. So I had them on my sock blockers that my boyfriend made me for Christmas last year. And I've started just hanging my socks I'm finishing up on the wall since it's getting too hot to wear wool socks until next fall. So this pair is going up on my wall. And these were knit on size 1 needles, 2.25 millimeter. I love to knit with Chow Goose. Chow Goose are my favorite. They're my favorite needle for everything. And so I knit these on a 40-inch cable because I like to do 2 at a time. So those are finished and going up on the wall. And then my second pair is the Avenue socks by Mina Phillip of the Knitting Expat podcast. She has a New York sock collection where she's releasing a pattern every month. And this is out of my own hand-dyed yarn from Thornbird Bear Yarns. It's so hard because it's reading so yellow in this, or orange, and this yarn is an orangey colorway, but it's a little bit more earth tones in real life. And it is the Merry Golden colorway. It's on my BFL high twist base, which is a 80% BFL and 20% nylon. So on this sock, I did 20 rounds of ribbing. I did 70 for the leg, which I stopped the leg with these textured patterns. I stopped the texture about 10 rounds before I do the heel because I just get nervous that sometimes these might fit a little tighter on my leg, and so I want to give my foot some room around the heel to slip in. So that's there. I did a contrasting heel. I just dyed a mini skein to match the yarn I had dyed. And then I did 70 rounds on the foot since this is an 80-20 blend. It's a little bit plumper, and so 70 rounds fits me better than 75. And then did my toe. So here they are. Love them. So they are also going to go up on my wall. I'm not sure if I'll be doing May's New York sock collection pattern right away. I might wait a little bit on it, just because of the socked out or whatever you want to call it. I think I just need to maybe just do one pair of socks this month instead of doing 50 million pairs. Although my Row 1 yarn subscription's coming. It's on its way, and that means I'm going to have scrappies, like little mini skeins to work with, and I don't know if I want to do socks, or will I want to put it in my blanket, or what I will want to do. So, maybe there will be some more socks. Okay, so that brings me on to my works in progress, which I just have one, and I've been very monogamous on this pretty much, to the point that I didn't even want to finish the last pair of socks that I just showed you, because I just wanted to work on this the whole time. And that is in my Silver Shed USA bag, and it is my... Well, first off, let me give you some backstory. So many people love Stephen West and they love his patterns. I'm one of those people. However, every time I've seen his patterns, for the most part, just the way he stylizes them, which is totally cool the way he does it, but it doesn't fit my aesthetic. So while I'm like, wow, that is freaking awesome, look at how graphic it looks, look at how amazing and unique it looks, I just don't see myself wearing what he designs. So that was until I started really watching. I can't even name a specific podcaster. It's been several podcasts now where I have seen people knitting Stephen West patterns in some really awesome yarns and yarn color combinations. And I've seen them and been like, wow, I could totally see myself wearing that. And so it's really turned my perspective, which I've heard several podcasters say this, but it's really turned my perspective on his patterns. And so I was thinking, I mean, my wardrobe in general, let's look at the wardrobe. My wardrobe in general is very basic. I like t-shirts, I like graphic t-shirts, I like fitted cotton t-shirts, like the thinner cotton. I don't wear a lot of sweaters. I have knit sweaters in the past, but I'm really not much of a sweater wearer. But I do wear shawls. I do. And, I really, really like to wear just a basic long sleeve cotton t-shirt and a shawl all the time in the winter. So I really need to beef up my shawl collection. And since I dye yarn, I can pretty much pick whatever yarn color combination I want, and I can turn it into a shawl. So I decided to look at Stephen's patterns, see if I could find one that I wanted to knit, and pick some yarn out from my shop and knit something with it. And so I chose the Doodler, and I did choose, let me show you. Here is one end. See, this yarn right now is coming out like it's yellow, but it's not. It's a white speckled yarn. Like a yellowy orange. Oh, there it goes, kind of. Well, now it looks... But that's more true than what it is before. So, this middle color right here is Dude. I have some left over here. Dude, I dyed this specifically for my shawl. Whoa. Do you see that ink on my arm? Gotta love work. So, I dye it specifically for my shawl. It's not in the shop right now. But I am going to be dyeing some speckles for the shop. I really enjoyed knitting it. You can see how the speckles show up. Or knitting it. Dyeing it and knitting it. And I did this. I have, from when I used to dye for myself before I became a dyer professionally, I have some sparkle yarn in my stash to dye for myself. So I grabbed one of those skeins whenever I dyed up the speckled. So I got that done. And then the yellow is here in the cake. And it is called Meadow. And it's these lovely yellows and oranges and deep purples and browns. It's gorgeous. And so that is what is on the border that I'm working on right now. The braided border. And I'm just loving it. I mean, really, this shawl, I love knitting this section. I couldn't stop. Like, it has been hard for me to put it down, to work on other things I need to get done in my life right now. And then this is going to be the last color I do, which is Sugar Coma. All of these are in my shop, although Dude's not in my shop right now. And so that's going to be the last color I do on the very bottom of the shawl. So I am absolutely loving it. I am knitting it on Gu size 4. It's on a 30, excuse me, I think a 32-inch cable. 30 or 32, I'm not sure. And I'm loving it. I've been able to watch a lot of TV and knit it, which is shawls. When I do a shawl, I'm not good at sticking with the really big, long, beautiful shawls. Even though I would love to have them in my collection so I can wear them. I usually stick to more of a scarfy shawl that I can just wrap around my neck and call it a day, and it doesn't take that much knitting. I'm also not good at lace. I mean, I can knit it. I can knit lace, but I get bored, and I get bored in the sense that I dread doing it. And so then I'm like, well, I'm just not going to do it. So, unless it's a worsted weight lace shawl, which my favorite shawl right now is a Sylvia McFadden shawl. She has some really beautiful lace worsted weight shawl patterns. Granted, any pattern can be a worsted weight pattern, but that's my favorite shawl right now. But it's just too hot, obviously, with the weather. We're starting to get up into the 80s, and although it's been cool some mornings. So my goal is this summer to knit 3 Stephen West shawls for my wardrobe next fall. So this is going to be one. I think the other patterns I want to do a building block shawl. And then I'm thinking maybe like a dotted rays, or there's a brand new pattern he just released, but it won't be available to purchase outside of his yarn. He's got like a yarn collaboration set up until like June or July, so we'll see, because I really like that shawl. And I do want to try brioche, but I'm kind of intimidated, and I know I shouldn't be because I've knit like everything else in the world, but I've looked at, okay, the 2 things I'm intimidated by in knitting is brioche and tubular cast on. I have tried tubular cast on a billion times, and everybody talks about how nice it leaves a nice hem, and it's gorgeous on hats, and yada yada yada. It's too much. It's not that I can't necessarily get how to do it, because I think I can. It's just too much work for me. I do fine with a long tail cast on right now, and it's just hard for me to justify all the work for a rolled hem or a tubular cast on if I can get a pretty decent looking product with a long tail cast on. So we'll see. But that and brioche. Now brioche is not, I love the look of brioche. For me, brioche is a strictly, I'm scared I won't do it right type of thing. So, but with Steven's patterns, I've heard that from several people. They're good to try because you can try new things. So I'm pretty excited about that. And I've already got like yarn picked out over there, which I'm really excited about. So yes. So that is all I have for this week. If you are looking for some yarns and you want to check out a new yarn dyer on the scene, that is me. Check out my Etsy shop, Thornbird Bear Yarns. Also follow me on Instagram, Thornbird Bear Yarns, because not frequently, but every few weeks I try to do, or once a month I try to do some kind of promotional coupon on my Instagram that can save you money if you would like to purchase some of these yarns. So check that out. If you have custom yarns you'd like to see, if there's certain colors you're interested in, a picture, whatever, shoot it to my email, thornbirdbearyarns@gmail.com. I'll take a look at it and see what I can do. And anytime, oh, there's my boyfriend. He's letting the dog out. He has like no idea I'm staring at him. You're gonna see him go past there. There he goes. Okay, so and anything you need, let me know. Dyeing has been really fun. I'm enjoying the adventure. I'm enjoying podcasting, which, sorry, by the way, for the quality of the sound, at least in the last episode, if not the whole time this thing has been recorded. I'm trying to do it through my display monitor today. I have a MacBook, and I also have a big display for the Mac. And the microphone it was set to, which I didn't realize this, was through the MacBook. So even though the display is recording me visually, the sound was being recorded through the MacBook, and it's not a good sound quality. So I'm hoping the monitor does better. I ordered a microphone from Amazon, and it came in shortly after I podcasted last time. But it's a microphone that you're supposed to plug into a headphone slot, and I don't have that capability with my MacBook, so I had to send it back. So hopefully this sounds okay, and I hope you all are well. Join us in the Ravelry group, say hi, send me messages, join me on Facebook, join me on Instagram, and I will see you all later. Bye!